But first, we're going to stick with the NBA. And Joel Embiid, Rob, who's playing, he's having the best season in the league. He right now has played like the MVP front runner. The question that has come about is, will he play the requisite 65 games that is necessary to be eligible for postseason awards? And so he missed the previous 2 games before last night. He goes out there, tries to play against Golden State, and suffers a knee injury or worsens his knee injury. And now there's a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of discussion about that. Rob G, you want to summarize this stuff for us?
Sure. So Joel Embiid's knee has been a topic of conversation for about a week and a half now, or maybe about less than a week, because you recall he had that big showdown against Nikola Jokic in Denver. Would have been his first time in 4 seasons.
And that was a national game, too.
Yes, as part of Rivals Week, Rob. This was a big NBA initiative to get these guys to play each other. And Joel Embiid famously was not listed on the injury report, and yet 15 minutes before tip-off, they ruled him out. So,
and that was his 4th straight time not playing in Denver.
Exactly. So
yeah, that's odd.
It looked bad. Really, really bad, right? So last night, he ends up coming back from injury to face off against Steph Curry and the Warriors. He ultimately loses that game, but more importantly, he looked very sluggish out there, and then he ended up injuring that same left knee again. In this case, though, they're saying that it was a different injury than the one he's currently dealing with. So fast forward to Wednesday morning, Sam Amick from The Athletic, friend of the show, reports that people in and around the Sixers organization say that Embiid's dealing with his knee injury, not just in the last week or 2 weeks. He's been dealing with it basically all season. And that's part of the reason why his minutes are not as high as some of the other high-end.
So when he was going for 70, what did he have, 3?
70.
That night?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the night he was. The knee looked good that night.
You know how it is, Rob.
Well, he's scoring like a point a minute.
Yeah. So they added, and then Sam Amick also added that, according to people in the Sixers organization, Embiid still probably should not have played last night against Golden State. He missed the previous 2 games. But he was so concerned about the backlash he had been getting because of the Denver debacle and the whole narrative about him possibly not being eligible for all NBA or MVP honors that he decided he'd have to get out there and give it a go, even though he knew he wasn't ready to play.
And didn't Tyrese Halliburton, the star point guard for the Pacers, say something about the 65-game rule?
Yeah, he said it was a terrible rule, and actually it's been a whole chorus of guys as recently as last night.
Not a terrible rule.
I mean, that's what's being pointed out. You had Draymond Green say on his podcast something similar, like, these guys are risking their bodies just so they can make these 65-game rule. And so
no.
It's a big backlash from NBA players.
Well, let's talk about that, Rob. What are your thoughts on this rule? 65 games.
Chris, we talked about it. If you don't want to do that, you got to come up with minimums then. You know what I mean? Like shot attempts. You can't do it in basketball like you do in baseball.
Well, they have game minimums to be eligible for, to be the leading scorer officially, right? To be the leading rebounder. You have to play a certain number of games.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like in baseball, it's about plate appearances, Chris, or
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Innings pitched.
I can't lead the league in batting at 80 at bats.
Exactly. Like you can't. Or you played half the season and you batted 340, and they're going to give you the batting title. A guy played the whole year, batted 325, and he doesn't get the title. Right. So that's what that is to safeguard against. And I don't know, the pushback on it makes no sense. There should be a minimum of games you have to play to qualify. It's pretty simple. It's pretty cut and dry. I don't think it's radical at all.
I'm totally with you, Rob. And for the players to complain about it is ridiculous. Rob,
complain about playing 65 games out of 82, Chris. Oh, my God.
17 games. And I know that the fear was, guys are going to shoot for 65 or 66 games. And they're going to pencil in, or the team, because the teams had a role in this too. The team's going to pencil in 15, 16, 17 absences so they can load, manage, and rest. Hogwash. All right, and Rob, as you know, I'm a voter for these postseason awards or regular season awards. And before last season, Bill Walton did win the MVP, only playing 58 games back in, I think it was 77. And that was when players voted, Robin. We've talked about players. Players don't vote well. They just don't.
They don't have a good history, Chris.
Right.
They don't. We talk about all the time. Whenever people question before the last couple of Hall of Fames, Chris, in baseball, before that, it was always the Veterans Committee.
Right.
These are former players. Like,
Yep.
How did he get in? Oh, well, the players voted him in.
Yep, no doubt. And even in the 70s, Rob, when the players voted, you had a couple guys win the MVP, I think with losing records and, not making the playoffs and stuff like that. And so the media started voting in 1980. After that point, the most games a player had missed and won the MVP was, I believe, Allen Iverson. When he won his MVP, he played 70 of the 82 games.
But still, so when 70 I started voting, that's a fair number.
Right. And so I kind of used that as a barometer. Okay, if a guy plays less than 70 or 69 or something, and I'm just going to kind of be like he's ineligible. Because obviously your team needs you to be there. If you're going to be the most valuable player, you need to be there on most nights, overwhelmingly most nights. But last year, Rob, it was ridiculous. Voting for the All-NBA teams, I think, I don't remember, I think I had players on there that played 50-something games. Because it was so many that had missed. So many of the stars were missing games.
Missing that many in an 82-game season? That's a lot.
Stop. Look, if the science, if the teams, if the players really wholeheartedly feel like you can't play 82 games anymore because of the wear and tear on the body, because you got to guard so much more the floor because the floor is spread out now. It's not all near the paint. Then you know what? Be honest with the fans that pay your bills and cut the games in the season.
Yep. Or at least give people,
games.
Chris, give people an honest, like, he's not playing. Don't buy tickets. If you came to see Kevin Durant or you came to see LeBron James, or you could get a refund on your tickets. Like if you don't do that, then you could do what fans will be like, do whatever you want. But to have people spend their hard-earned money. We talk about it over and over, man, because it's real when a fan and a family, Chris, and a kid's
Rob,
birthday. It's real.
It is expensive to go to a game.
I went to a Clipper game, $8.99 for a Diet Coke, Chris. I thought I had a gun in my back. I mean, seriously. $8.99?
Because, Rob, what families want to do, if you got a young son, 10 years old, whatever, and he loves basketball, you're like, oh, Steph's in town.
Right. Can I see Steph play live?
I'm going to bring him to see Embiid play, whether your local team is good or not. And then it's hard to do that now, to shell out all that money when you know there's a good chance that star's not playing. It's not good for the league. It's not good for the fans. And it's not good for even the competitive advantage or nature of the players in the league. I'm totally with the rule.
And the networks, Chris, who shell out a ton of money. That's why this next contract's going to be very interesting, because the networks have felt like they've gotten a short end of the stick on the big games, the national games. How many times last year, Chris, I'm looking forward to this game, and we'll be talking, and then you find out right before we go off the air that so-and-so's not playing. You would be like, I was looking forward to that game.
And,
all right,
and
let me
Rob,
give you this.
I think it has had a bit of an effect, even on me. I don't even look forward. I mean, I look forward to the games. Obviously, I love the sport. But I mean, when I know there's a big game, my first thought is, well, okay, are the stars playing?
Are they playing?
That's my first thought. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And if I find out they're playing, great, I'll get into it. Because you also, Rob, look at these games as measuring sticks, right? People want to see Denver, Philly, Embiid, Jokic to kind of measure them.
Right.
How good is Philly really?
And imagine showing up in Denver
goes out the
for
window
that game.
when you don't have your stars.
Yeah, and then Embiid's not there. Like I know you got to be pissed. So let me give you the numbers on Embiid and the MVP. This is from Vegas. So in a span of 3 days, Embiid went, Chris, from a plus 120 at BetMGM to win the MVP. He was the favorite, plus 120.
Right.
To now plus 1,500, which is fifth, because Vegas, they don't think he'll play 60 to 65 games needed. From where he is, we're just starting February. We got February, March, and parts of April. Got 2.5 months.
Yeah, they're probably right. And you know what?
And he's ruled out for tomorrow already.
Right.
So that's another game.
I guess the question people want to ask is, do you feel sorry for him? I mean, I hate the fact that he can't stay healthy. I hate the fact that he's banged up. But do I feel sorry for him? Like, man, if he only plays 60 games, he still should get the MVP. No, he shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. You missed 22 games. I mean, come on. That affects seeding. And then there's another guy out there, maybe Giannis or Jokic or whoever, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka, busting their butt playing 75 games, and you're supposed to get the MVP?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I feel sorry.
And I don't even know how players
are hurt, but I don't feel bad that he won't get MVP if he don't play 65 games.
And I don't understand the pushback from the players. Like really, like it just doesn't even make sense. You have to earn the MVP, really? Like, oh yeah, he played 55 games. Give him the MVP.
Right. It's them not getting it, Rob. I mean, we talked about it, and I think that's just another example of them not getting it in this regard. And thank God for this rule and the writers that take this stuff seriously. And I'm not, obviously the players take it seriously, but a lot of times they're not seeing the other teams as much either, Rob. And they're,
Chris, they don't follow it as closely as fans do. They might be out there on the court.
Not as closely as the media that really, takes this seriously. Again, not saying the players don't take it seriously. Obviously they do, but they're playing. They're not necessarily observing and analyzing and things like that.